So is this troll still here? Is the question. Should be. Should be. The fucking troll should be around here. I have to get my stuff back, sadly. It's discovered. Equip, equip faster, equip faster, equip faster, equip faster. Good, I have my spears. Oh, they generate health. But now he runs away. That's a good shot. It's a bad area to fight in. Out of the water, you bitch! No. Yes. Mine, little troll. Right. Very nice, very nice. Yes, yes. No, not a troll. Can I swim over there? Could be possible. Yeah. Oh no. Leave me alone, you little bitch. Oh fuck. The waves make my fire go out. Oh no. Good. Yeah. Quite a long swim. Oh, that rock is good here. Oh, that rock is really good. Yes. All the way over here. Ooh, that's a lot of enemies there. Yeah.
Right, so you guys want me to make a new character,
Yeah.
but
That's what you want. That's what you demand.
I don't want to.
Okay.
See, my character and I are blood brothers. We can't abandon each other.
Let me say.
Buddy, all I went was make a new character and named it Stony the Second. All I did. Difference, man. Be better skills.
How do you tell if cup noodles are old?
Look at
Look at the expiration date.
These taste kind of funky. I'm scared. Somebody hold me.
I need to find a troll. Oh, there are a lot of skeletons here.
Booga booga, one of us.
Gee-boo, gaboo, booga, pizza.
I thought about ordering something to eat, but every time I look at or think about food, it feels.
The landlady offered to take me to Waffle House, but I told her I don't want to go anywhere today.
Waffle House. Never really been there.
I just don't feel too good.
Yeah, I feel you.
Don't feel like it.
There's a
Going.
troll. There's a troll. Oh, la, 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 la. Let's take that.
La, 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 la,
Must be a troll somewhere here. There.
la, 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 la,
In
la,
honor of another in the Mojave Desert. The real turning point for the program came in late 1951, when Admiral Parsons, a longtime Knott's sponsor, came to China Lake for a presentation on the program. He became an enthusiastic supporter, and Sidewinder was established as an officially funded development program. The first aircraft launch came in the spring of 1952, and air firing of all up-guided rounds began in August. The principles of simplicity, reliability, and innovation, the things that would allow the missile to perform complex functions and remain simple in design, continued to drive the program. However, Sidewinder was not an overnight success, as legend would have it.
The first 12 missiles we fired didn't work. We didn't know why. We finally figured it out.
The 13th missile, fired on September 11th, 1953, missed the F-6 target by inches and was judged a successful intercept.
So,
4 months later, Sidewinder intercept.
I want to kill the troll before
4
night
months later,
time.
Sidewinder hit the target.
It was
More
January
carrot
the
seeds,
9th,
yes.
1954, January the 9th.
Those will be useful later.
Yeah. Maybe we can make a...
It was on a Saturday. I remember getting up that morning and my wife was in labor. And went on into work. They were talking about firing this missile. Sure enough, they got it off and it hit.
When we hit that airplane, that was really remarkable because they succeeded in getting the airplane back. They landed it. And when I went out and looked at the airplane afterward, and I looked up inside, I put my head up inside the wing through the rent that had been made by the Sidewinders and went through. And here was, the main spar had been broken. But what was holding that wing on? I really don't know.
The Sidewinder team now knew that it had a missile. And Levy threw a small party.
I'm back. Now you had to fix the laptop. Somebody's laptop.
Nice.
Sound muted.
Everybody was working hard and having a great time and laughing and scratching, but we had a cause. The cause was, of course, Sidewinder. We all knew what we had here. And when I came here, I knew that my mandate was to get the missile out of the Mojave Desert and into the fleet.
If we don't do something fast, the enemy will win.
The junk garage. Yeah. We never had a car in that garage. Double garage, it was always full of all the bills. That's junk, but that's where he did all his experiments, you know. He used to go out there and work in that garage, come home from the office and have dinner and then go out and work all day, all evening, and then go work on Saturdays and Sundays. And of course, when we first went out there, you know, all the fellows went back to work at night. They all did an awful lot of work at night.
Oh, I think everybody worked long hours, yeah. Howie's comment that you'd see the parking lot filled with Sidewinder cars, I think, is certainly true. All thought of work done at night. Just couldn't get it done.
To understand Sidewinder, you need to understand China Lake.
There's nowhere in industry you can do this, or in the Air Force or anywhere else. We could fire a missile and get the data, the telemetry, and a quick look at the camera film, go home and have supper, and come back and have a data analysis meeting that night. And then go over to the Chiefs Club, and Howie Wilcox would beat me at table tennis and beer drinking. But it was just fantastic.
A tight-knit community with a very active social life and a rich corporate culture. And a place where concepts often advance toward fruition, at the club or over the backyard fence. If China Lake looked a bit bleak to the early arrivals, they nonetheless found themselves in both a laboratory and a community in which they could thrive.
Bleak. I asked Howie when I got here, this is a pretty bleak place, isn't it? He said, yep, pretty bleak. But it gets green in the summer, but you won't see much of that. You'll be in the lab.
And I loved it. Because you learn very quickly that if you have water, good shoes, and a hat, there's nothing the desert can do to hurt you. And mostly it was the work situation. It was just fantastically good.
The work and the work environment were fantastically good. And in this strange place, military and civilian families lived and worked side by side, a continent away from their Washington overlords. An exciting professional life and a very active social life came together to create a unique community.
Yeah, it was a tremendously active social life. We were on a military reservation. We were 150 miles away from the nearest big town. There was a lot of socializing that went on, and a very, very fun kind of socializing it was. Yeah, very much so.
I would say in recollection, the most fantastic education I had was getting to know civilians again. I was a Navy lieutenant when I came back there. And at that point in life, civilians were aliens to us. We never even lived near them. We didn't visit them. Now we're next door to them. We do parties together. We have beer parties, bring your own booze, this kind of thing. And they became like other military friends. Were very close to us.
The corporate culture that evolved from the forced integration of isolated academics with combat-seasoned operators nurtured creativity, initiative, and a drive to serve the fleet. And it fostered popular legends of Bill McLean's garage and the wonders that poured forth therefrom, of secret projects and stolen funds, and of maverick missileers who battled bureaucracy and bucked the system. The Christmas parties of the old Aviation Ordnance Department, where lie many of Sidewinder's deepest roots, became the stuff of legend, and the Sidewinder saga was celebrated in song and story and stick figure epic.
By the old Sierra Mountains, looking eastward in their lee, lies a laboratory building off limits by decree. And the range that's in the desert, for which my heart does yearn, come ye back, ye civil servants, come ye back to Inyokern, on the road to Inyokern, where the missiles twist and turn. Can't you hear the sand a-blowing from Ridgecrest to Inyokern?
Over the years, I spent all of my sea duty in the carrier business somewhere, and all of my shore duty in the R&D business somewhere, but none of the other R&D assignments were anything like the laboratory assignment here at China Lake. Well, the Sidewinder is an interesting example of a product being developed that some of the user community said they don't need until they see how it works, and they said, "Gee, I'd like quite a few more of those."
The missile worked 6 months before the simulation ever worked. So the very early part, it wasn't so much in the simulation as it was in the examining of the partial differential equations associated with proportional navigation homing. You could anticipate things, and you could measure some of them with telemetry before they got to the point that the simulation could do it adequately. The simulation improved, and the use of hardware in the loop in simulation came into play. Tom Amley was a great one on simulation, and he was very pleased that he was able to demonstrate in simulation some of the things that were causing a competitive missile, namely the Falcon, to miss regularly.
Although Sidewinder would help establish China Lake as a pioneer in the application of computer simulation to weapons development, full-scale flight testing was accelerated to an amazing pitch. "51 guided flights were made at China Lake during 1954 alone, and nearly 90 shots were made of various versions over the next year.
Attack the enemy. I agree.
An essential aspect of the program was the presence of fleet aviators and their close relationship to the RDT&E team.
I was the project officer and the project pilot. The three men I mentioned earlier, essentially Bill McLean, Howie Wilcox, and Walt LaBerge, were the principals of the Sidewinder project. And I think I flew all but Bill McLean in the F-3D. We had a side-by-side jet. And they had never been in an airplane before, yet they're developing a weapon that supposedly, and has, of course, over 30 years, very nicely destroyed an aircraft target. But Howie and Walt LaBerge both flew with me in the F-3D, which I thought was a pretty dink jet compared to the combat stuff I used to fly. It was one of the few jets where you were shown in the handbook as wearing a baseball cap and you had a cigarette lighter and everything in the cockpit, so it's kind of a casual airplane. But they enjoyed it.
"1955 saw numerous milestones on the way to the fleet. The first firing at a Dart tow target. The first firing at a jet aircraft target. And the first firing from an aircraft flying at over Mach 1. "88 missiles were air-launched during the year, which culminated in Sidewinder's release to operational evaluation in January 1956. Sidewinder 1 entered the fleet in June 1956 as the AIM-9A. In less than 2 years, Sidewinder would earn its place in history. In the fall of 1958, over the Straits of Formosa, F-86s of the Republic of China were defending the island of Taiwan against Red Chinese MiGs. On the 24th of September, 18 Chinese Sabres, 4 of them carrying Sidewinder, encountered a large force of Chi-Com MiGs.
That day, we don't check in. So the airplane actually towed over to the runway end. We started engine, took off. But in the air, for some reason, I don't have a radio. I cannot hear anything, and I try to click the mic, and no response. But my commander have confidence in me. We just approaching it from behind, bring up the nose, and my leader shoot one, I shoot one. One explosion after another. It's maybe a second apart. That's the first time it happens we shoot Sidewinder.
In its first combat outing, Sidewinder scored 4 MiG-17 kills. The enemy scattered in the face of the first sortie of the guided missile era.
I felt that this is the ideal application of the Sidewinder missile to suppress what promised to become a shooting war because it made it clear to the other side that, hey, they were not going to be able to dominate the air. In fact, they were not even going to be able to compete in the air.
After that, not too long, political reasons, so our Air Force never cross over the middle line, and their Air Force also don't cross the middle line, so not much contact anymore, no more.
Sidewinder had been established as a player on the world stage.
Absolutely convinced there's no way we're going to hit it. And so the first flight they set up was one against a high noon firing against the white sands. And they can't, other than looking at the sun, there's probably not a hotter IR background to fire an infrared-seeking missile into.
We were in the final stages of buttoning it up, getting it ready for the fleet. I mentioned to Bill McLean, I said, you know, really the Air Force needs this missile a lot more than the Navy does. You know, the country would be better off if this were an Air Force missile than if it were a Navy missile. I says to Bill, I said, we ought to sell the missile to the Air Force. He said, well, why don't we?
After being assured by the Air Force that it had no need for Sidewinder, Wilcox enlisted Charlie Lauritson's help in convincing irascible Air Force missile maven and one-time Lauritson student Trevor Gardner. But the sale would hinge on a shoot-off against the Air Force contender, the Falcon. The shoot-off held at Holloman Air Force Base in June 1955 is a popular page in the Sidewinder story, and illustrative of the real and perceived differences between competing missile programs and competing military services. Even before the target drones were launched, the comparison was dramatic. Falcon's cartloads of complex test equipment and a dozen or so trained technicians against Sidewinder's Orty chief with little more than a Simpson meter and a flashlight.
We had a little console about yay big to do a final check on the guidance unit and at least see that it was turning up and would track and such. We did all of our tests back here. Then we hauled the guidance unit there. I don't think we had much with us other than maybe a flashlight or something like that for a target. It was just interesting to see the difference in the large complex and such that I remember there being there for Falcon at Holloman. And that was not where they did the developing. That was just where they did the final checkouts before they took them out and fired. And we had a bench in the corner of the hangar, and all of our work was done in a small lab that was a fraction of the size of theirs out there. So we took a little pride in that.
So.
Hello, Sheena.
Here's meadows where I am right now. It's really beautiful here.
Hello,
Y'all
Sheena.
choose. I'm just a builder. I'm just the engineer. I'll just build. Y'all just give me a resource. So fun.
Yeah, this is a good spot here where you can build it.
Really don't.
Around where I am. Well, it appears to be open. Appears to be very much so open water too.
How's it going, Sheena? How's it going, Sheena?
Dana Motal, you're being talked to. Or are you salty? You think over there?
Yeah, I see a way into open water from here. At least an area that isn't registered.
You call me Kip?
Yeah, but I forgot what it was. What are you doing right now?
Oh, we might want to put a carve down if we're gonna build over there.
Well, I need a resource for a card first.
I need 3 more.
Stuck in the com.
Go ahead.
Hey, you want a bridge? You want a bridge over here to the island? You want to build, yeah.
Let's get a forge corner in my house set up first. And then we'll start looking.
Want to join me, Kill, for the morale super?
What are you doing?
Morale BR, Abby.
I guess so. My head hurts so bad. I need to focus on something anyway.
What are you doing? Why focus on so many things?
So we're just gonna ditch this place now, right?
Once we find a suitable spot.
It's because I'm stroking it.
I know.
I can't stop.
Oh, no.
It won't stop.
Oh, okay, so go eat some pizza.
I don't have money to get pizza. All I got is $7.
How about you can catch some bird and fry them up?
I don't think that'll work for him. In Florida.
Yeah.
Steven, how versed are you on driving boats?
What do you mean?
How well are you at driving boats?
Did you make a carve?
No. I need resources first.
Oh.
I'm just asking.
Yeah, I have a beautiful spot here. What's your Steam name, by the way, so I can add you actually?
Me?
Yeah.
Salty Depression.
Very original.
Yes, indeed.
It's very hot in here.
Two friends.
I'll turn off the heater.
I
Are
can't.
you
There is no
Tom
heater.
789? Well, 783?
Yeah.
Channel switch was moved to your channel.
I was flying a new Japanese plane I got. Well, I already had them unlocked. It's just that I bought them. Okay, Gino.
Yeah.
Let me restart the game and get some water. I'll be right back. That's a fancy helmet that you got there.
I got it for $3.